Hey, welcome again to the Entrepreneur Journey, the site that's all about inspiring you to step out and live your dream. We're here in Texas, and I'm so excited to introduce you to Mr. An Nguyen.
Hi, my name is An Nguyen. I'm from Columbia, South Carolina. I used to own a chain of restaurants. I am a qualifying team elite. I am Nu Skin. So we are here on Catalina Island, camped by the sea. So we are at a very remote place. There's no cell phone signals. I bring them here because I want them to be away from their environment, away from where they're comfortable, so that they can come here and experience something new, experience nature, but at the same time find out who they are and what they're capable of.
An, thank you so much for being with us today.
Well, thank you for having me, and thanks for allowing me a chance to tell my story.
No, we're really excited. I know you're going to be motivated by his incredible journey. So An, why don't you go ahead and just introduce yourself to us and share a little bit about your personal life and also what your professional life looks like.
Well, okay. Well, my background is nothing complicated. I came to the U.S. in 1993, broke as anyone else, and I struggled through the first few years. I went to high school and college. I graduated as an engineer, but I didn't see that that was a way to make a living or have a lifestyle that I wanted. So I opened restaurants, and it was hard because I was working 14, 16 hours a day. So I went back to school for 2 more years to get an MBA.
Okay.
And after that, I developed a concept to open a chain of Vietnamese restaurants.
Okay.
So that's what I did. And 3 years ago, lives took another turn, and I've been doing something else that has given me the lifestyle that I desired.
Wow. Now, you were really, really successful with your restaurant chain. Can you share a little bit about what you were able to do and pull in financially, I guess, with the restaurants?
I think it has to do with your work ethic. When I started out, whenever I want to do something, I always give it 110%.
Yeah.
I don't care how much they pay me, as long as I'm doing that, I'm doing it 110%.
Yeah.
So as a result, I always excel because I give it that extra push. So I open restaurants the same way. I work longer than anyone else, harder than anyone else. And I married in 2006 to my wife, who was a pharmacist. So financially, we're doing quite well. But still, you know, when we have kids, it just the schedule did not really fit me, because all these time we trying to fit our life around our work.
Yeah.
But I want to have something that I would be able to fit my work around my life.
Yeah.
So that's why life took a turn, and I really like what I do now.
No, that's great, and I think that's one thing to really highlight is that success really isn't about finances. You were doing great financially in the restaurant business, but you realize there was so much more to life, and you built a lifestyle around that.
I think that's the key, because a lot of time we are born into this world and been trained by college or by everyone, everywhere we go, it's about making money, but it's not really about making money, because money is just a mean for us to get to where we want to go. So at the end of the day, we have to ask ourselves, what does money really buy you? Does it buy you what you want? So I have people who make a lot of money and yet they have no lifestyle. They're stuck at work all the time. They're working 7 days a week, no time for vacation, no time for kids. So it's not what I wanted.
Yeah. Did you have any experience in the restaurant business after you did the engineering degree?
I had some experience before, so I was working in the restaurant business before that, but not a whole lot of it. So I'm the type of guy who always learn on the go, and I'm not afraid to take some risks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How many restaurants did you end up owning?
So I have about 9 restaurants under my name. So right now we have about 4 operating right now.
Okay.
But I detached myself from that environment so I can focus more on what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. So at the very peak, you had 9 restaurants. You mentioned just briefly, you know, you're always one to step out. What have you encountered in terms of people's fears in stepping out?
I think, you know, people, we have to say, you know, sometimes people are too comfortable being uncomfortable, and that's a very true statement.
Yeah.
Because sometimes we're not happy with where we are, but we are afraid to try something else because we're afraid of failure. And I think that fear holds a lot of people back. The fear of failure, the fear of not being able to do what you want to do, and therefore you watch the world. You know, you watch the world goes by. You watch someone else does it, and you complain when someone else succeeds and you don't. But in fact, you haven't tried. So that holds a lot of people back.
Wow, that's really good. Being too comfortable with being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Wow. Now share with us. Now you're part of a company called Nu Skin. Can you share with us the transition from the restaurant business to Nu Skin?
Well, that was a 180-degree turn, because I don't know anything about skincare or healthcare or you know, anti-aging products, and yet I see this as a financial vehicle to free me from what I was doing.
Okay.
So again, it's another path that I took, and it was, to me personally, it was a lot of risk because I was venturing into something that I've never done before. But then with my attitude about doing things, learning things, and not being afraid to make difficult choices, it's been 3.5 years with this company, and we market anti-aging products, skincare, healthcare. But I was able to retire my wife, who's been a pharmacist for 10 years. And right now, with the result that we have, we can travel the world, we can do whatever we want. But what I really see through these opportunities, it allows me to see life for what it really is, meaning that it allows me to really pursue things that I really wanted to do.
Okay.
Before, you have the money, but no time. Now I have time, I have money, and I have a bigger vision for what I'm here for.
Yeah.
And I have a bigger vision for what my leaders are here for. We can make a difference in the world.
That's really neat. Now, yesterday, as we were having dinner, I couldn't help but notice everyone at the table would continually comment on what a great leader you are. And this is probably going to take setting your humility aside a little bit, but what does it take to be a great leader? And not only that, to sort of interact with people in a way that empowers them.
I think for me personally, my definition of being a great leader is to have positive influence on other people. So they respect me not because of my success, not because of the money I make, but because of the positive influence I have on them. So when I look at someone, I'm trying to see the positive sides in them, and I'm trying to pull out those positive sides and help them be the best they can be.
Yeah.
I sound like I'm in the army now, but in a way, people have a lot of good things and bad things going on, but most of the time, we only look at the bad things, bad sides. I look at the positive side, and I try to see how can I influence this person positively so that this person can change, so that this person can become more successful.
Yeah.
So it's about making those changes, changing habits or changing mindsets so that you can move from one place to another, and therefore you would achieve something that you've never achieved before.
Wow. Now, you've stepped out and done so many things really in the area of the unknown. What would you say for most of these people you've met? I mean, what's the success rate when you see people step out?
I think for most of the people I see around the world, we already said fear, but it's the lack of belief in themselves that holds them back. Because truthfully, with whatever we know or whatever I knew then, I would not have become successful with Nu Skin. But because the learning process, we forget that we can learn on the go. So people somehow they forget that. So they expect to be able to do the work immediately.
Okay.
But when they understand that everything requires a process, there's a process to everything that we do, whether you go to college or work or anyone else or everywhere else, there's a process to go through.
Yeah.
So if you're willing to go through the process and you really have a big, strong reason why you have to do something, then it's just about making a decision to do it. Just go forward and learn. And I tell people, if you ever fall, try to fall forward. So if you pick yourself up and you keep on falling forward, at some point, you will reach your destination, maybe with some bruises and cuts, but you know what? You're going to get there if you really want it.
Okay. Can you give us a practical example of what it looks like to fall forward?
Well, we make mistakes all the time. So let's say in my restaurant business before, for example, if let's say I cook a dish that was not satisfactory to the customers, and they complain and they yell at me, well, the next day I would try better to make it a better dish. So when they come back, they don't complain anymore.
Yeah.
So it's about making adjustments as we go.
Yeah.
So in my new business, we get rejections. We get people who don't understand what we do, who makes false accusations about us. But then for someone who's not ready, they feel hurt by it.
Okay.
But then for someone who's truly willing to fall forward, well, they realize what they say wrong or they didn't say right. They pick themselves up, they move forward again. And it's about the realization that we are in the business to make positive changes. So not everybody's going to understand what you do.
Yeah.
But in the end of the day, do you understand what you do? And are you willing to pick yourself up the next day and do it again?
Wow.
Just like what you do it too. It's not easy to do what you do. I'm sure you have your obstacles. And yet every single morning you pick yourself up and say, hey, it's another day, it's another chance for us to make a difference. So let's do it.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's great. Thanks for sharing that. Can you share with us the most difficult part of your journey so far?
I think right now, looking back, I think for this particular journey, there was a lot of misunderstandings about what we do. And they think, we are... Well, there are many things that they don't understand. So when people don't understand, they fear. And when they fear, they make accusations or blame. So the first obstacle or the first obstacle that I had personally was to forget myself, who I was then. I have an MBA, I have all these, I have employees, I have my businesses, and to be able to pick up fresh. So when I came here, I came in with a very fresh perspective. I empty my cup in a way, but that was difficult to do because I was successful then.
Okay.
But to be able to let go of what I had before and start brand new, that was difficult. And then it comes the realization that what I'm doing right now is great. It helps people health and beauty, but it helped them financially as well. So once I realized that what I'm able to do, then I just do it without thinking about whether someone look at me differently or not.
Yeah.
All I know is that what I see and what I do.
No, that's a great point that you highlighted. I mean, being the owner of 9 restaurants, to go from that, you really would have to empty your cup, like you said, and that does seem like a big struggle for people to set their ego aside, right?
Yep.
Can you share with us, on the other end, your greatest highlight in stepping out in all of your journey, the biggest highlight?
It's kind of funny that many years ago, I always dreamed about coaching people around the world. And yet, with my restaurant business, I couldn't do that. The only thing that I could do was to feed people every day and hopefully they're happy. And yet, when I ventured into this business, I was able to grow personally. Every single day, I make an attempt to change myself to become a better person in different areas. But at the same time, I was able to influence others in many ways. So right now, with our this current network, we have people around the world, and they tune in, they listen to my coaching, and the greatest part is now I have friends around the world, and I can sit in one place and influence people around the world.
Yeah.
So I can only take my best shot at it, meaning that I can only do my best to hopefully change someone else's life around the country and around the world, so that they too can have the life that they desire, instead of just working 7 days a week and not knowing why.
Wow, that's really good. Yeah. So someone comes to you, they've got that dream that's been burning in their heart for a good while, but they don't know the immediate steps to take. Can you give 3 practical bits of advice?
It's kind of funny that you said 3, because I wasn't going to say 3. It takes 3 things to become successful. First, you have to really have a strong why. When you say the burning desire, so a really strong why you want to do something.
Okay.
The second thing is you have to have a goal. When do you want it? When do you want it by? And I want an exact date, time, and year. Because randomly say I want to be rich is not going to help you rich. Okay. Maybe you want to say I want to be rich in 5 years. That narrows it down a little bit.
Okay.
And the third thing is you have to have a commitment. So most of the time people have a reason why. People want to have a lifestyle, and yet they don't know when they want it. So they don't have a goal.
Yeah.
And when they do have a goal, a lot of people do not have the commitment to do it. So when they see an obstacle, they run away.
Okay.
People like me, when I see an obstacle, I say, come here. Because that's what you expect, right? Because only when you overcome an obstacle, you can learn and you can grow. So each obstacle is a chance for me to grow. So I welcome it with an open arm. But for most people, they run away from it.
Yeah.
So those 3 things: why, your goal, and your commitment.
Yeah. Great advice. The 3 questions as we wrap things up. The first one: who's been the greatest influence in your life?
My mom has been a great influence on my life, because I see her working hard all her life. And she was doing business all the time. So I saw that as a way to get what I want, because working on the field is not going to do it. Doing a business is the key. But my mom always gives me the best advice. She tells me work hard. One of the things that I've heard recently is they said that do your best and leave the rest to God. And that's the advice that my mom has been telling me all this time. I said, do your best, son, and God will take care of the rest for you. So I take that to heart, and every single day I wake up, I say, am I doing my best? And when I go to bed, I'm asking myself, have I done my best? And then if I have, then God sure will take care of the rest. And so far, it has worked out great.
Wow.
So mom has been great, mom.
No, that's great. Next question: what kind of an impact or legacy are you wanting to leave through your work?
This is not something that I want for me personally, but I think as Vietnamese, overseas especially, we can do a lot more than what we're doing right now. Right now I see that we're working hard, but we're not working smart enough, meaning that I'm not saying that we're not smart. I'm saying that we're working 7 days a week, and that we are sacrificing our personal time, our family time, for what? We don't know. So my legacy behind is we want our Vietnamese overseas to be able to achieve more than what we have, more than just about making money. It's about having positive changes. We come to the US, we come to Australia, or we come to other countries, not just for the political freedom, but to have freedom, period. So the freedom of time, the freedom of finance, the freedom of everything else. So have we achieved that yet? And right now, sometimes we work so hard. Now kids looking at us work, they don't want to do what we do. And then sometimes we work so hard, we have no time for them at all. So now you're here for them, and yet you're not here for them.
Yeah.
So you're working so hard, you have no time for them at all. So I want to make those positive changes, especially here in the US. About 80% of the Vietnamese here do nails, and they're so busy all the time, and they have bad health because of the environment they're in. So I really want to bring them out of that environment, and then hopefully their life will change as well.
Yeah, that's huge. I think you're absolutely right. As refugees leaving an uncomfortable zone, but then going back to what you said earlier, now being comfortable with a different sort of uncomfort, and that's a huge goal, and definitely wish you all the best in doing that. Final question: what is your definition of success?
So again, my definition of success is not measured by how much money I make, but again, it comes back to how much influence I have on other people. So influence can be positive or negative, and of course, I'm talking about the positive influence. So if you can help someone else change, that is success on a personal level for me. So every day doing my work, I am satisfied. I go to work. I go to work every day, excited because I know that today I'll make a difference in someone else's life. And you wouldn't believe, if you see somebody grow in front of you, I'm not talking about physically, but mentally, from someone who was very shy, timid, did not believe in himself or herself, and suddenly they pick themselves up and they change over time to become a leader of other people as well. And now I can start seeing them doing the same thing, trying to impact that positive influence on other people to make positive change. So for me, that is success.
Yeah.
So I have hundreds of leaders around the world who are actually doing the work that I do. So we're in business, but in many ways we're not in business. We're in the people business. We're trying to make positive changes, because to me personally, if someone is willing to change, if someone is willing to go through that process of change, of learning something else new every day, of believing in themselves every day and trying to do something else and not being afraid to fail, then they will pick themselves up every single time, and they will achieve more than what they achieve. But fear, do not let fear hold you back, because we are more capable than we think we are. But only if you make a decision to do it, a commitment to be successful at something that you really want. But otherwise fear would hold you back, failure would hold you back. But successful people are the ones who are not afraid of failure, not afraid of making mistakes. And fear is there, but they don't eliminate fears, right? Like Winston Churchill said, you don't eliminate fear, but you try to control it. So I have my fear, but every single day I have to control it so that I can achieve more than what I achieved before.
That's incredible. Now, I know a lot of people are going to want to connect with you, so check out the show notes. I've been deeply encouraged by this conversation, and so if you want to pick Unwin's brain, check out the show notes, and we'll have details on how you can connect there. Any final words for our viewers?
Well, again, thanks again for allowing me to share my story, our journey. I hope other people can see my story and be inspired by it, because I was born into, I came to the US broke just like anyone else, no English, no friends, not understanding anything at all. But the realization that I don't want to be there forever, I want to be better, and therefore I pick myself up, and every single day I try hard. I don't get here by accident. I get here by working hard. I get here by not afraid of taking risks. I got here by believing in myself and by looking for answers elsewhere, so that someone else, some mentor somewhere else, can help me get here. So if you don't believe in yourself, find a mentor, find someone who believes in you, and they would help you become successful. So the world has unlimited resources, and you can achieve unlimited potential or whatever you desire. So what is it that you desire most? Okay, make a decision to pursue it and do it, and just put a blindfold on and just go forward without thinking, without hesitating, and don't be afraid to make mistakes, because mistakes help you grow.
Absolutely love it. Unwin, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure.
Go out and get it. See you later.